We asked for your thoughts about the bridge update. Let's start with your feelings about tolls on the bridge.
Well, here's what we're going to do, Pat, with the I-5 bridge. We won't be going to Vancouver anymore, and Vancouver won't be getting any of our money. Dining, entertainment, recreation. Bye-bye.
Jeffrey says, as a native Portlander in my 60s, I remember the current Interstate Bridge spans on both tolls, having tolls on both ways as a child, so I'm not really sure why a toll for a new bridge is a surprise to some. Curtis wondered about something that a number of you asked about as well. He said, I'd like to know if the Transportation Department will remove the toll when they get the bridge paid off. I bet not, just like a new tax that we have to pay. And Curtis, I'd be willing to bet you are correct. Once the tolls are there, I think they're going to be there to stay. We haven't really heard that definitively, but same thing goes for the proposed tolling projects in the greater Portland area, along I-205 and I-5 as well. The days of tolls that pay for a project and then disappear, I think those are long gone. We focused a lot on the potential design of the bridge, by the way, which is still being determined. Some of you have ideas of your own.
I was watching the bridge replacement segment, and why not build a bridge with a turntable in the center so that the bridge can turn 180 degrees to allow the ships to pass? Just a thought. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I think that's kind of a cool idea. I don't know if they've looked at that or not. Jackie says we need to build for tomorrow, not today. A drawbridge or a swing span is really a necessity. Be prepared. And now we're going to take a few minutes to talk about another idea that always comes up when we talk about a crossing between Portland and Vancouver. Bernard says, come on, bridges are archaic. The replacement should be a tunnel. And Larry chimed in, why aren't they looking at a tunnel? I'd rather have that than a drawbridge or a super high fixed bridge. And we already know that by touching on this topic, we're opening a real can of worms. So what? Let it open. Let's briefly look at the work that's been done already to consider the tunnel projects, because they have looked at it, but they don't really seem to have any serious contenders for the eventual design. So there are two types of tunnels that they've looked at. One is called a bored tunnel. The other is called an immersed tube tunnel. The bored tunnel, well, that goes deep. It's far below the river bottom. The Interstate Bridge replacement team says the top of the tunnel would be 60 feet below the river bed, with the bottom of the tunnel at its deepest point stretching 175 feet below. They say the issues with a bored tunnel include the sheer length needed to get that far below ground. This graphic kind of shows the tunnel would start south of Marine Drive at the interchange there in Portland and extend all the way to Mill Plain Boulevard in Vancouver. They say that alone would eliminate 5 different I-5 interchanges, and traffic would be a nightmare, be forced into local streets in order to get into the tunnel. Then there's the immersed tube idea. This consists of a series of prefabricated tunnel segments that are built on land and then sunk into a dredged trench under the river bottom. But it's not nearly as deep as the bored tunnel. Because of that, it wouldn't have to be quite so long, going from the southern end of Hayden Island in Portland to near Evergreen Boulevard in Vancouver. But 2 I-5 interchanges would be eliminated with this plan, once again forcing a lot of traffic to local streets in order to get onto I-5. There's also more environmental concerns with the immersed tunnel idea due to trenching and the dredging of the entire width of the Columbia River, including the riverbanks. The immersed tunnel project would cost around $3 billion, give or take. That's just for the tunnel. That's not factoring in all the work that has to be done in both Portland and Vancouver to make it accessible. They didn't even do a full cost estimate on the bored tunnel option, saying they were certain that it would cost even more than the immersed tunnel. And that's just scratching the surface of what the bridge replacement team has studied with these tunnel options. And that's why they're leaning towards a bridge instead. And I know there are some engineers out there, armchair or otherwise, that are red in the face at this moment, mad about the findings of the replacement team when it comes to tunnels. But it looks like a sure bet that we're going to get another bridge, just a bridge, across the Columbia.